If you ever wondered how I prepare for stuff like this, post-it notes. Lots of them. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Musings of a Guild Leader. I am Senda, as I was the previous weeks, I still am. Interesting episode this week. It's going to be a somewhat shorter one than the past weeks. Not that I have less stuff to talk about, it's just that the stuff I am going to talk about is going to be condensed a bit more. I'm going to talk about a few things. First of all, last week I told you I was going to talk about the people that step up within a guild and how you can use this, what this means for a guild, why it's important, and how to go about this in a good way, basically. This coincides with getting achievements, obviously, sorting stuff out within the raid structurally, within your guild as well. First of all, this show might be on a little bit late. Why? Because I actually just came out of a guild meeting, a rather big one. We had a guild meeting started at 9, it lasted about an hour and a half, roughly, and we discussed all sorts of stuff. And we have one of these every single month. Basically, either the first or the second of the month. The first as much as I can. The second this time because I just came back from a short holiday. I want to have a guild meeting within the guild where every single person, be they an officer, a guild leader, or a member, or hell, even an initiate that just joined an hour before, hey Mokurts, you're out there, I know it, everyone joins in. And what you do is you sit down as a group on Mumble, what we use, which is a sort of TeamSpeak server thing, kinda. And we also put down a small little campfire in Mulgore where we all sit around, just because it looks awesome. You sit down and you discuss the past month. You basically have every person that's in charge of something talk about what they're doing and give a small presentation. So on my end, I give a small presentation about recruitment. I have my person that's in charge of the guild bank, which is Warkwak, gave a small presentation about how the cash flow of the guild bank is going, what our plans are for Cataclysm. Chimera, who's in charge of our website, gave a small presentation, small little guideline on what she's doing to the website right now and what he wants people to do, because he's making this really big banner thing and he needs a screenshot of every single person, but it has to be without shadows and you can't see the interface and it has to be somewhat small, and exactly how people should sort that out he told people and they know. And then we had Robal, our PvP officer, talking about raiding PvP right now and what it will be like in Cataclysm, with Tolbarad being like the new Wintergrasp, what people can expect basically. Merilith, my raiding officer, couldn't actually attend, but he left me with this big note in the officer forum that I could just read to people that tell them this is what he's doing right now, so people are up to date even though he wasn't there. And then I had a small bit about how I handle recruitment and about the meetings we were going to have in real life, because we're setting one big one up at the moment. Which brings me to the whole point of how we do meetings. Like I said, we have one big meeting every month in game, and we're looking at hosting our first big in real life meeting as well. And you might wonder why. Why is it important to have a meeting? And a meeting basically serves about 3 purposes as far as I'm concerned. The biggest purpose of a meeting is to keep everyone up to date on what's happening. A meeting, in my eyes, a guild meeting, is not so much a place where you sit down and you discuss the actual stuff. It's a place where you inform your guild members of the stuff that's going on, so they can discuss it amongst themselves and give feedback to you. Because if you have it boil down into a discussion, the meeting will last for hours and hours and hours, and no one will ever show up to your meetings again because they're like, I'm not going to sit in for hours of that crap, I don't have time for that. So it's really just there to inform people. Obviously, if people have questions, you can answer them, etc. But it's really supposed to be informative. That's the first. The second thing is it's a nice little get-together. It's an excuse to get the entire guild in one spot at the same time. This promotes a sense of cohesion within your guild, a feeling that we're all part of something bigger. The whole band of brothers sort of feeling that you get going on there is really important for the binding of an entire guild. And then the last bit, it sort of ties into the first one. If you have everyone up to date, you can poke them a bit and really promote them to give you input on subjects that you want to hear their opinion about. Which should be everything, by the way. It doesn't matter if it's a big thing or a small thing, you want to know what your guildies are thinking about it, if you're doing the right thing, if you're actually pleasing everyone, in a way. An example today was, I sat down during the meeting at some point and I said, look, this is how recruitment is going right now, we're going to do things differently. Oh, and by the way, what I said last week, we have an entire guild that might possibly apply, and I'm bringing this up for the first time in the guild as a subject to talk about. what do you guys feel about this? I gave them the basic lowdown on what I know so far, and I said, look, if you have any comments or questions, either ask them now or send me an in-game mail or something, and people are replying. It's not so much that they wouldn't if you didn't tell them. It goes a lot easier if people are up to date. If you have these meetings, it gives a fixed point in time where people will know, this is when I'm getting a lot of info, I should be there. Everyone feels the same way, and it all bands together. And then you can always have someone pen down the minutes of the meetings. I actually have someone, Chimera, who does our website, does that as well. He keeps the minutes of every meeting. He writes down a small report of everything we talked about, and he puts it up on the forum, so people that couldn't be there can actually read up on, what did I miss, right? What's going on, and go from there. That's all really important. And the other big thing is we sat down and I said, look, I want to have an in real life meeting. I want to go to England, and I want every single guild member, as far as can be humanly possible, I want everyone to be there. I want to have one gigantic meetup in real life, because it's lots of fun, it's great team building, and it's just so much fun, right? What is not fun about having all the people you know from the computer join up in real life, sit in like a bungalow park or something, and have a gigantic barbecue and sit there for like a weekend? It's amazing. I've seen this stuff happen before with other guilds I've been in. It's the best thing ever. It's lasting memories, and really, if you have a guild, you haven't actually done something like it, really get down, sort one out, and do it, because it's amazing. Meeting people in real life really strengthens the bond you have. It's just amazing. And that's all about meetings, basically. It's really important that you sort this out. And that actually leads me to the other point I wanted to talk about, which is what I promised last week: people within the guild stepping up to do stuff. And this is great. If you have people in your guild, which what I'm facing right now, people are stepping up out of themselves and say, look, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to run the Ice Crown raids, I want to have an old school raid every week, I want to run Onyxia, I want to sit down with everyone and fish. Whatever, right? Whatever it is, there's people other than myself and the officers that are stepping forward right now saying, we want to do stuff, we want to organize events that everyone can join in on. And right there, you'll find the persons that are so incredibly valuable to your guild, really incredibly valuable. That sort of stuff, you have to grab hold of it, nurture it, and let it blossom into something amazing. To give an example, we have a raiding officer. You know, I've talked about him before. He's Meredith. He's a great guy. And we have someone else who's called Gorgonite, who's also an amazing person. And he stepped up and he said, look, I want to host raids as well. He did a few small things. And he was like, that sort of sparked this. And he was like, I can actually do this. This is fun. This is so much more fun than I imagined. I want to sit down and actually go for it. I want to be an actual raid leader. And I sat down with him and Meredith, and we had a talk about it, and we were like, yeah, this might be a good plan. I mean, you're hosting a few things, people are joining in on it, they're having fun. I, as a guild leader, got a lot of positive feedback from a few guildies about it. They said, look, Gorg and I hosted a raid, and it was really good, I just wanted to let you know about it. So then I decided to just promote Gorgonite, make him an officer as well. But at the same time, the system we have within the guild is a bit weird. Well, weird, it's not been explained before, which makes it rather weird. Because Gorgonite is now, he's not an officer, he's a veteran, which sort of amounts to the same thing, actually. It's just that within our guild, I actually have sort of structure in place. I have me on top as guild leader, and I look down upon everything and decide, is this in the best interest, yes or no, steer where appropriate, etc., and, you know, lavish praise upon people. Then below that is like the 4 guys that sort out the stuff for me, the guys in charge of the separate departments within the guild. There's Warcrock doing the guild bank, there's the website with Chimera, there's PvP with Robal, there's raids with Meredith. And Gorgonite would fit snugly under, because Gorgonite is not actually going to lay down like a system for the raids. Meredith is in charge, and Gorgonite is just going to be one of the raid leaders that is going to host the stuff that Meredith plans, basically. So that's why Meredith is the raiding officer, and Gorgonite is the veteran. Now, veterans in our guild actually have the same access to the guild bank, the same rights and privileges as a normal officer. They can promote people, demote, invite, etc. They can take whatever they want out of the guild bank to make sure events work and everything. So they're basically an officer, just not in name, because of the structure I lay down in the guild. And I just used the time in the meeting today to make that clear to people, so no one's thinking, oh, well, he got promoted to a veteran because they don't want him to be an actual officer or something. So, you know, everything is clear. And again, this goes back to the very first musings I did. If you lay down your lines of communication properly, you tell people what you're doing, and what I said today, if you have a guild meeting, you use that time to inform people what you're doing, that communication will take away all the questions that people have. And once you give them that clarity, everything will be fine, because people will know what you're on about, and if they have questions, they know where to go to ask them. Clarity will just sort out all your problems. So yeah, that's all the cool stuff that's been happening on our end. We hosted some meetings, we promoted some people, we have a new system for initiates, and we're still waiting for those guys from the other guilds to tell us exactly what they want, but they're figuring it out internally. We'll see what happens. Who knows, maybe next Musings I'll actually be able to give you guys an update. Until that time, be awesome. Keep the feedback coming. I like the stuff I'm hearing that you guys are bringing me, saying the good bits about the show, the bad bits about the show. And who knows, maybe in the future stuff will be completely different. But as for now, later.